I want to share a massive mistake I'm seeing so many business owners and experts that keeps them stuck podcasting, but not actually growing, not reaching the full potential with their show. And it's a sneaky mistake, and I mean this with all the love and respect in my heart. But the majority of business owners and experts who are struggling to grow, who are putting in the work, showing up every week, but their show still isn't gaining traction, is because of this sneaky little thing right here known as denial. Now, what do I mean? Well, I was speaking to a business owner recently who was on a call with me exploring joining the Get More Listeners Academy. Now, she'd been podcasting for 12 months, and despite being consistent, having great conversations, her show was barely reaching 30 listeners per episode. Now, the thing was, during this conversation, she kept tiptoeing back and forth between this is a hobby, and then she would say, no, this is a business I want to take seriously. Then she'd say, no, this is a hobby I'm doing it for fun. And then she would go back to, oh, this is a business and I want to take it seriously. And the issue with you going back and forth and not deciding whether this is a hobby or whether this is an actual business taken seriously is the exact reason why you're stuck. Because there's nothing wrong if you want to keep doing the podcast just for fun and have it be a thing you do every single week. You have great conversations with your guests. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's great. That's fine. But if you're wanting this to be a serious business, then you have to differentiate between the two factors. One is a hobby that you're doing for fun. If that's the case, stop caring about the downloads, stop caring about your numbers, stop caring about if the podcast is monetizing and making you an income. Because if it's a hobby, you're just doing it for fun. It doesn't really matter what the outcome is. Whereas if you've decided that you want to take this seriously, then you have to take a different set of actions to get you to your goals. So for example, most people, they actually get to a point with their show. Maybe it's 6 months in, maybe it's a year in, but maybe you did start the podcast just for fun and you enjoyed it for a while. But maybe 6 months in or maybe a year in, you realize that actually I do want more from the podcast. I'm not okay to keep investing my time, my money, my energy, my resources into the show and not get a return out of it. Maybe you're looking at your hourly rate and wondering to yourself like, hey, I've spent a lot of time, a lot of energy in this, but it's not really doing what I want. And if you're getting to a point where you're actually feeling frustrated and kind of just pissed off about the download numbers and listeners you're reaching and how low it is, then to me, that's a sign that it's no longer a hobby for you and you actually want something more with the podcast. But when I mentioned about being in denial is that most people, they come to that realization that actually I do want more from the podcast. I'm not willing to settle for where I'm at right now. But their behavior doesn't change. They still operate from the hobbyist mindset that they had when they first started the show. But the problem is that hobbyist mindset probably led you to a spot where you haven't got a strategy with the podcast. You probably haven't invested thousands into mentorship to helping you grow the show. You're probably posting right now and you aren't really thinking critically as far as who am I targeting? What are the keywords I'm trying to reach? What's my content strategy? How do I make sure I create an exceptional podcast that attracts a massive audience? You're still likely podcasting kind of again for fun for yourself. But again, if you're wanting to take this as a business, you have to change how you operate as a business owner when you look at your podcast. I'm sharing this because this is what keeps so many people stuck. Being in denial of, oh, I want more from the podcast and having aspirations to make impact, to be influential, to be the one in your space, to reach thousands of new listeners, but then operating from the hobbyist mindset. You want to accomplish this, but you're operating from here. And that gap and that tension and the frustration you're feeling is because you're out of alignment of the way you need to behave to hit the goals you want with the show. And the frustration you're feeling to me is not just about the low download numbers. I think it's deeper than that. I think the deep frustration you're likely feeling is because there's a disconnect between what you want to achieve and the fact you're not taking massive action, the action at the level you know deep inside you need to be taking in order to hit those goals. But then you're choosing to invest your time, energy, and money and resources into the podcast fully 100%. And I'm getting passionate. You can tell I'm getting passionate here. Fully 100%, knowing deep inside that you're just upload content, and you doing more of what you're doing right now will only get you more of what you've got. And if you want something to change significantly with the results you get with the podcast, you have to change significantly with how you're approaching the podcast. So look, I wanted to get this off my chest. very aware. I feel very energized and hyped up and semi kind of angry. And the truth is, it does piss me off when I see so many amazing business owners and experts who have so much potential just screw themselves over because they don't align themselves with how they need to operate in order to achieve their goals. Growing a podcast is not a hard thing to do. I can promise you that is not a hard thing to do. It's been proven. We know how to do it. But the hard thing to do is to finally let go of the denial that a podcast is just a hobby, this thing you do for fun, and step into acceptance of, I do want more from this podcast. I've not been operating the right way. I've not been prioritizing the growth and monetization. I've not invested in mentorship and help that I needed. And then finally just taking action towards that. And that's the hardest part and the hardest step that most people never make. And that's why most people quit and don't make it. But if you're watching this right now, I feel confident that this message is getting through to you. And my encouragement to you is have a deep reflection of what you truly want from the podcast. And then ask yourself, if I carry on the way I am for the next 6 months, will anything change significantly? Or will I get more of what I've got? Then the next question should be, how would you feel if nothing changes and you keep putting the same time, same effort, same energy, same money into the show, but not really reaching the potential? Would you be happy? Or would you be actually pissed off? And if the answer is pissed off, frustrated, and just feeling like you're not reaching your full potential and knowing that you could be doing more, then again, my biggest encouragement is to leave the denial and accept the fact that something has to change. And look, with that being said, I'll catch you in the emails. Speak soon. Take care, guys.